Thank you for joining this episode of our webinar series on best practices in eDiscovery. Social media has exploded over the past 2 decades. The prevalence in matters has seen equal growth. The messaging capabilities incorporated into these platforms have provided custodians with alternatives to email and other communication channels. Therefore, it is very important to not only understand the quality and character of your custodians, but to also utilize tools like data mapping to ensure you're able to capture the relevant sources of electronically stored information for your matters. My name is Jeff Fugit. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for Luxby, and I'll be the moderator for today's event. We've got a lot of information to cover, so I'll jump right in. So a little bit about our webinars. Our webinars take place monthly and cover a variety of relevant digital forensic and eDiscovery topics, trends, best practices, and strategies. We've got limited seating, so be sure to register early for the sessions that are of interest to you. If you have technical issues or questions, please email webinars@luxby.com and we'll address those right away. Our webinars are available online at luxby.com for viewing via streaming video or downloadable as a PDF presentation or MP3 podcast. You'll find this webinar and a complete listing of other webinars at luxby.com. To be notified of future live and on-demand events, please email us at webinars@luxby.com or follow us on LinkedIn. Also, we post a ton of other videos and best practices content on LinkedIn. So if you're interested in upskilling your capabilities in this area and your knowledge set, it'd be a good idea to follow us there so you get updated whenever we post a new video or a new resource. So a little bit about us. We're based in Austin, Texas, and we've served almost 8,700 legal professionals with our cloud-based eDiscovery platform. We've been doing this for more than 16 years. We have the industry's most affordable and full-featured DIY cloud-based eDiscovery platform, the industry's fastest eDiscovery processing and document review platform. We deliver the industry's fastest return on investment per a study that was done by G2. We were also rated as the eDiscovery company that's the easiest to do business with. We have a full forensic lab staffed with Cellebrite certified forensic investigators who perform full and targeted forensic collections. We also have a team of experienced eDiscovery specialists and expert consultants who are all ACED certified. If you'd like a demonstration of our platform, simply email us at sales@luxby.com and we'll get that scheduled for you. Joining us today is Nick Marrero. Nick is the Digital Forensic Manager at Luxby. He has over 12 years of digital forensics experience and a bachelor's degree in computer forensics from Bloomberg's University of Pennsylvania. Prior to working at Luxby, he was an eDiscovery Senior Associate at Deloitte. And before I turn it over to Nick, I'm going to ask for your participation in some polling questions to help set the stage for his presentation. And our first polling question is, what percentage of your matters include social media evidence? And while you're answering that, I'd like to thank you for participating in our polling questions today. All right, I'll go ahead and close that polling question. And our second question today, what's the average number of custodians in your cases? All right, I'll go ahead and close that poll. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Nick Marrero. Nick?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Today, we're going to be going over social media forensic collections. This is going to be an overview of the data collections from social media platforms and what types of data can be retrieved and reviewed from those platforms. As Jeff mentioned, my name is Nick Marrero. I'm the Digital Forensics Manager here at Luxby. On today's agenda, we're going to be going over social media in general, a broad overview of social media. We'll be looking at the different social media sources. We'll be looking at what can be collected from social media, different collection methods used by forensic professionals, the difference between private and public collections, and we'll be looking at social media analysis and those collection exports for your review. So, social media in general. What is social media? So social media, as most of you are very aware of, is something that is used by individuals, corporations, organizations, pretty much everybody. Social media can be accessed on websites or applications on your phone. This is a place for people to, creators and individuals, to share their photos, ideas, information, everything you can think of under the sun. It's basically a form of expression for anybody, and a place for companies to reach an audience, a place for people to connect with other people in many different ways, just a place to intake a lot of information. Social media is very interactive. There's commenting, messaging, reacting, the hearts and the likes and the dislikes. Everything's in real time. So you share your post or your pictures or whatever you're creating or wanting to your followers to see, all in real time, and they can react and comment in real time. Friends or followers can be added to your profile or your account. They can be invited. They can access it publicly if you have a public profile. This is where they can then interact with your content and even possibly share your content or just watch it. And social media has become a means of communication for a lot of people. So this is a place where you can message people privately. You can have conversations within a post. A lot of people use apps like Snapchat to communicate via messaging or via pictures with captions. Social media has a lot of different usability options, and it's hard to come by somebody who does not have some type of social media account. As you can see from this chart right here on this social media overview slide, it's basically an overview of social media use. If you take a look at the top left section, the number of social media users, 4.62 billion people have social media, which is a lot, and that's spread throughout many different social media platforms. The average daily time spent using social media, 2 hours and 27 minutes for the average person, and there's 7.5 is the average number of social media platforms used each month. So it's very interesting to see all these different statistics about social media, when back in the early 2000s there was there wasn't any social media. This is all brand new. So to see the growth that social media has accumulated over the years in a relatively short time is very incredible. So here, let's take a look at the social media sources. So social networking sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, that's places where you can network with your friends, groups, any corporations. Facebook is mainly used as a way to communicate and keep in touch with family and friends, people you know. And then corporations and companies create their own Facebook accounts so they can outreach their audience that way. Lots of ads. I'm sure you're all aware of the ads you come across on Facebook and other social media platforms. Then you have LinkedIn. This is mainly for businesses or individuals looking to grow their business network. A lot of professionals will use LinkedIn to follow or interact with other colleagues or even look for jobs on LinkedIn. And then Twitter is a bit different. It started out with just being able to share quick little statuses or thoughts throughout the day. Something that was where you can just share whatever you want at any time, just a little quip about what's going on in your day. Whereas Facebook is more, at least to me, a thought out type of post that you make that you want to share with your following. And Twitter, it seems that that's more, you follow celebrities and people you don't necessarily know. And then you have the content sharing type social media networks. And that would be things like Instagram and TikTok. Instagram mainly sharing videos or pictures, and then they graduated to videos. You can share that with your following. TikTok, it's all videos and these short clips. And then, of course, YouTube. Everyone knows YouTube, video sharing. And Pinterest is like an idea sharing, which is share your content of different ideas and creativity. A lot of sharing of content, like you're redoing your house and you need ideas, or you're having a wedding and you need wedding ideas, and people will share that kind of content. And then, of course, you have messaging, these messaging social media platforms, including Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, and then others like WhatsApp and WeChat and Telegram. They're more of just messaging, and you don't really think of them as social media. But these types of places, you can share content like you do in social media within these chat applications. And here I'm showing an example of Magnet Axiom Cyber. This is a forensic tool that we use that collects data from social media accounts. So and cloud accounts. So as you can see, there's a lot of cloud sources that we collect from, but we also have social media sources like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram here. And then there are other forensic tools like Celebrate Physical Analyzer, and you can collect the same types of sources as well as others like TikTok and LinkedIn. Different forensic tools sometimes collect different types of sources. So that's why it's great to have a couple different toolboxes in our arsenal. So we're able to collect from, say, TikTok. If we have both sources, we wouldn't be able to get it if we just had Axiom. And then social media data, like from Snapchat, that can be extracted from your mobile device directly. Right. As of right now, there's no way to log into someone's Snapchat using a forensic tool via the cloud. So for sources like that, you can grab it from a phone. It will pull as much data as it can from Snapchat. And I know Celebrate has that capability to get a decent amount of data from your Snapchat account if you have access through your phone. Now, here's just a little information about the most popular social media platforms. So we have Facebook as obviously the very top of the top, most popular social media platform that a lot of people are on, obviously, 2.7 billion. And then there's YouTube coming in at 2 billion, and that everyone goes on YouTube if they want to watch a video. So a lot of people have their own sites on YouTube, their own accounts, and share their videos there too. And you can comment on them. Then you have Facebook Messenger. So about half of the Facebook users actually use Facebook Messenger. And then the other ones showing Instagram's popularity, LinkedIn, all the way down to Snapchat. And as you can see there, TikTok, that's at 689 million, and that's steadily growing. That seems to be the social media platform of choice for younger generations. So, what can be collected from social media? So here you can see a couple screenshots of this is from Axiom. I did a mock collection of my own Facebook account to show, what kind of what we see on our forensic end when we collect from a social media platform. So these tools will break down the collection into what's called artifacts, and they're basically just categories that we can go through and find whatever relevant data is being looked for. So you can see on the left side, this has information about the Facebook account. It will show the password or token used. It will show Facebook URL. So this is just the Facebook URLs would be information like where data is saved in Facebook itself, the URL to get to that. Identifiers, these are the people that I've connected with or have information about on my Facebook. Not necessarily 1,445 friends, but that's also not just my friends on Facebook, but also people who have interacted with my posts or companies that I'm following on there, and information about my user account. This will also pull Facebook messages. So if I'm using Messenger, it'll pull my Facebook Messenger conversations. And then on the right, you can see more information. There's my friend list. So that's all. It pulls all information about my friends, my timeline. So I think I've had Facebook since like 2005. So it's pulling information from all the way back then and every single post basically that I've ever made, and also comments and likes and reactions from those posts. You can also see all the pictures. This will include pictures from my posts, pictures I've been tagged in, pictures of my friends. So it collects each of my friends' Facebook profile picture. So you can link that with the friend themselves if that's something that's interesting in the investigation that we're going to do. Then Facebook pictures, videos, everything you think of from a Facebook account. That's what's being pulled. So within tools like Axiom and Celebrate, we can search for specific things, filter on certain time frames, dates, keywords. It assists with looking at for whatever information we're looking for or we're tasked to look for. Tools like Axiom and Celebrate are great with reviewing the data as well. And when it comes to pulling data from social media or from mobile devices, the thing with mobile devices is that you're technically accessing your data through the cloud. So if a forensic examiner is collecting data from your phone, it's only getting a limited amount of data from your social media accounts, just because every time you access your Facebook, you're connecting to a server, which is where most of your data is stored. There's very limited data stored on the phone itself. So the best way to get data is to actually log into the social media platform through one of these forensic tools to pull it down and not rely on just what's on your phone to be able to collect that data. And then here I have some examples of what I see on a Instagram collection. This time I used Celebrate to do that collection. And here you can see my contacts on Instagram. I think there's also some location data, and it shows all the media collections. Now, the interesting thing here with Instagram is that, or with Celebrate, it using an AI kind of breaks down all the images by specific topics that it sees in those pictures. So, for example, you can see there's, beach. So it's pulling any pictures of a beach or camera or cigarette, um, things that may be interesting that an investigator would look for. So it kind of helps you narrow down the search a little bit. And also breaks everything down very nicely to show the videos separated from the pictures. It shows your timeline. It'll have all your comments. That's what you can see on the bottom right where it says social media, and under that it says Instagram. That will show all the interactions for that time frame that I collected from. And as I said, having multiple tools is the best way to ensure that the most data is collected and the right data is collected from our standpoint. Now, location data can also be collected, and that's going to be every time you post a picture or something and you tag your location in that picture, it will be able to pull that data. So if an investigation is looking into when a person was at a certain location, this is definitely going to be helpful. And then these types of tools, Celebrate and Axiom, they're able to create a timeline, which I'll show you on the next slide. Let's just go to that now. So here you can see this timeline. Here I collected Google's account. I did a public collection of Google's Instagram account. And it's showing me a timeline, as you see on the upper part of the screenshot, of the posts during that time. And and everything is broken down beneath that by information and the metadata of each post and when it was posted, when it was collected, all the comments or the captions of each picture. And then on the right side, as you can see, the picture I'm clicked on row 179, it will show that there's 5 attachments. That just means there's 5 pictures within that collection. So a post with multiple pictures within it. So the timeline is a great way to narrow things down. As you can see, this collection was done between September 10th and August 12th. That was the time frame I narrowed it down to when I did this collection. And you can see their activity within that time. And this is from a public collection, which we'll get to in a little bit. So, social media collection methods. There are 4 main collection methods in collecting social media accounts. The first would be collecting it directly from the cloud. And a cloud collection is able to, what you use is an API to log in. So an application programming interface. This is when you're going to log into something from another source. So if you've ever were trying to get into an account that you've used your Google account to log into before, and you will go to log in through Google, that brings up a Google API, which is just a little login page for Google. And that's very similar when collecting from social media accounts. And you need the user credentials enabled to do that in order to do that for private accounts. Then another method would be collecting the data from mobile devices that have had those social media applications installed. And like I said earlier, apps like Snapchat can be used, or that's the only way that you can collect Snapchat data at this time. And hopefully these forensic tools are working towards a method to be able to collect that data using an API like we do for Facebook or Instagram. And this is more of a limited data set collecting from the phone, because like I said, most of the data is saved on the cloud. And then user credentials can possibly be obtained from this method. If you're collecting it from a phone, and it will, if you have those credentials saved on your phone or typed in those credentials on your phone at some point, there might be a chance that you can pull those credentials from the phone collection. And then you can use those credentials to log into the account if you're allowed to. You can collect data from social media accounts from a computer. And this is very similar to collecting data from a phone. It's a limited data set, but you will be able to get some information if they've accessed those social media platforms on the computer. And this will be information from like the internet history or the log files or the internet cache from the computers that could provide decent insight into when certain websites or applications were accessed, and could also provide remnants of certain posts or any type of pictures or anything that they accessed on the social media site. And again, you can possibly get the credentials from there as well and be able to log onto those accounts for cloud collection. And then the final way to collect data from a social media site is to download the data from the site itself. So sites like Facebook and Instagram and some others will provide a method of downloading your social media account into basically a zip file that will have all your activity and all your user account information. Now, that's basically a download of your data option that they have. And once that data is downloaded, tools like Celebrate and Axiom are able to ingest that data. And that data can then be viewed in the way that I showed you earlier on the two different tools and extracted from there, because the download your data option basically puts it in a format that's not really readable without having some type of other tool that can digest the data and present it in a way that is readable to the average person. And then again, for these type of collections, user credentials are needed to get access to that. And this is something that can either be provided to a forensic professional to perform the collection, or if this is some client that is willingly handing over their data, they can provide that as well. There's just a little bit of risk when a layperson is collecting their own data, self-collection, just knowing that there's a possibility that something could go wrong. That's why it's always best to have a forensic professional who is able to perform those collections. Now, next, we're going to talk about the private collections versus public collections. And this is something I mentioned a little bit earlier. So a public collection. So this is where you do not need any user credentials to collect the data from the social media site. Think of it as if you log on to Facebook and you don't have an account, and then you go into a profile. A public collection would be what you see on that public profile without being their friend, without being their follower, just something that is available to the public at all times. Now, sites like Google or BP or any big corporation, you're able to see all of their data, or at least most of their data, if you just look at their site without being their follower or friend. And that's the kind of data you would be able to pull with these public collections. And then these public collections can get any public posts. They can get the public comments and reactions and basic information from their bios. So it's really very dependent on what the security settings of that person or corporation's profile is. That's basically what you will get when you perform the collection. If they have low security in their social media profile, then you'll be able to get a decent amount of stuff. But if they're very high security and have a private profile, then you won't be able to get much. And that brings us to private collections. And this is when you want to collect data from somebody who has a private account. And also for even if they're not private, if they don't have a private account, having the credentials to the account gets you the most amount of data, more than you would get in a public collection. So you would be able to collect all the users' account information, all their posts, comments, reactions, private messages. You'll be able to get their bios, their location data, account information, and more. So at the top right, that screenshot is what I see when I'm performing a collection on Axiom. And it will show you, you would ask what kind of Facebook collection or Instagram collection do you want to do, a public or a user account, which is the private. And it will give you a little description of what you can get from each one. And, if you have those user credentials or if you're able to get those user credentials, then performing the private collection is always the way to go to get the most amount of data. Now, social media analysis. So data forensically collected from a social media account can be analyzed using these forensic tools that we've been talking about, as well as others, but those are the two. Axiom and Celebrate are the two that I like the best and I think are the best in the industry for these types of collections. And the data is broken out into these artifacts or categories for you to analyze and to select the data that you are interested in. Individual posts can be examined to find information like the time of the post, the participants within that post, any reactions or comments, and source information where it came from. So as you can see on the right in that screenshot, you can see information like this is from Instagram. It has the account number, which is Instagram's number that it provides for that account, and something that you don't see if you go into Instagram without these types of tools. It shows the created date and time, how many reactions the post got, the comments. There's 15 of them, and it will show the participants. So there's a list of the participants for that post. And then the body, that would be the caption that post had. And if you see on the upper right corner of that, the attachments, that's how many pictures are in that post or how many attachments. So it could be picture or video. And then for private messages, the messages are separated by conversation. So when you collect somebody's private messages from a private social media account, you're able to get all their messages between whether they're group chats or private between two people, and those types of that type of data you can then analyze for the participants, any attachments that were sent through the messaging app, basically all the information that you need to get from any private messages. And then in the forensic tools, we can then tag and bookmark certain posts or information that will either need further analysis or to export at a later time if they're relevant to the case. And then timeline and activity can be analyzed to identify all activity performed on the social media platform, as well as when the activity was performed. The timeline, like we looked at earlier, it's a great tool for forensic professionals to be able to see and narrow down a search. Searches can also be filtered by time and date. If we know that we're only interested in data from a certain time frame, we can do all that within either during the collection, break it down and only collect data from a certain time frame, or we can collect the full data set and then within the tool break it down to that time frame that we're looking specifically for. Or you can even further filter it down and only look for interactions between the author or the owner of the social media account and a certain person. So we'll only be able to, if that's what's of interest, we'll be able to extract only that. which is great. So once the data is going to be reviewed by attorneys, they don't have to go through everything if they're only interested in conversations between person A and person B. And here's another screenshot to show you guys how it looks on our end. Like on the left, you saw the earlier slide, shows all the different artifacts or categories. And then here I'm clicked on Cloud Facebook Friends. So as you can see, each one of my friends on Facebook is there. It will show you their name, which I blocked out. It will show you their tagline, which on Facebook, when you are looking at friend information, it'll tell you how many mutual friends you have. So that's what the tagline here is here. We'll show you the link to their Facebook accounts, and then it will show you attachments, that's their profile picture, and a bunch more information. So here you can see it gives you a preview of each person. This one happens to be my wife, but I blocked out her face. You can further go ahead and tag that person if that person's of interest, or this will help you narrow down any searches on the timeline or other pictures that you may be looking for. And here's some more previews from Facebook account. What we see. So, for example, that's a profile picture or a cover photo, and it will show you information on whose photo it is, when it was posted, when it was collected, which is very helpful. The URL link in the middle, you can see that we can identify all the interactions that post had, all the comments. And on the right, this is an example of private messaging. So you can see it looks almost exactly like how you would see it on your phone with the blue and gray bubbles. So it's very easy for us to analyze, and then that's how it would also export for review. So you'll be able to see it how the person saw it in their account. Now, deleted data. Deleted data is a harsh topic, especially for social media collections. But deleted data on social media can be very difficult to recover due to that data being stored on a remote server. So when forensic professionals are collecting data and they're able to access deleted data, that's because we're collecting directly from the source. So if you're collecting data from a computer and data has been deleted from that, since we have access to the full computer, we're able to access that space of the computer that stores deleted files or remnants of deleted data. Unfortunately, with cloud type collections or social media collections, we don't have access to those servers that the data is stored on, or the deleted data is stored on. So the only way we can get any type of deleted data is if that social media platform has a trash or deleted folder within it. This is where it will store any deleted posts or pictures. Most only store it for like up to 30 days. It really depends on the platform, how they store their data. But after that 30-day timeline, that data that's in the trash gets permanently deleted, and you don't have access to that anymore. So collecting that data, you really have a small time frame to get anything that's in the trash. So if you're suspecting somebody deleted something, it's best to get their social media or cloud account collected very close to that time frame that the suspected deletion happened, which I know much easier said than done, but that's the only way we can possibly get any deleted data, unfortunately. And forensic specialists can also collect and analyze the computer data, like I said, since we are able to get the full hard drive or the full computer to collect if anything was deleted on a social media platform that was accessed on a computer. If we collect that computer, there's a chance we could be able to collect some type of remnant of what was deleted if they accessed it there. Now for collection exports. So when we are done the collection process, and if an analysis is needed and that analysis is complete, we then export the data out of the forensic tool platform, and into a format that is ready for your review. So we have a few options. We can export to PDF format, so that will produce a large PDF file, basically, of all the content of the social media platform that we collected. It will show all the posts, all the metadata of those posts, the pictures. If there's videos, they will also export into an attachments folder, which is outside of the PDF or any of these different export options. So basically, everything can get exported. You can export to Excel. Excel is great if you're trying to do a lot of filtering to find if you want the whole data set and you want to filter from there. You can filter by names and dates and all that kind of stuff. HTML, that's great for viewing. If you're just going to want to click through the data, it will bring it up in HTML format and very easy to view. Load file, this is a great option to export data to if you're going to be putting that data into a review platform like Luxby or any other platform. Then that data is basically ready to go, and you'll be able to see all the data and each post or each pictures, whatever it is, the metadata associated with that, and you'll be able to filter on the metadata that way. And then other options like Word and a forensic tool reviewer. So as you can see in that middle screenshot, it has UFDR, which is the format for a Celebrite extraction or export. And basically what that is it will be able to give an export of the data that can be put back into Celebrite Reader, which is kind of like a light review version of Celebrite that forensic personnel use. And all the data can be viewed the way we see it in our platform and broken down into those artifacts. And Axiom has a similar thing. Theirs is called portable case or magnet review. So that's data set was collected in Magnet Axiom. It can be exported into one of these formats that if you're given a portable case, it will be able to be shared with everybody in the same manner that we saw it during collection. And the metadata obviously will be preserved during these forensic collections. And so any of these formats will give you that metadata so you can review that as well. Now, let's talk about the load file export. So Celebrate and Axiom, they're able to export to the load file, which most likely is what you'll want to review the data since it will be going into a review platform. And as you see on the right screenshot, that's how the load file is presented once it's exported. You have the natives folder, you have the text folder, and you have the load file.dat. And then this is, a standard format for review platforms to be able to put into to ingest and process for your future reviews. And obviously these load files will contain the metadata, so that makes it even easier for reviewing and searching. And here's another example of what we get when we create those load files. There's the native and text folder and the DAF file. And as you can see on the right, you'll see what the native folder contains, and you'll see JPEG files, you'll see Word documents, audio file, calendar, exactly what you need and exactly what's going to be put into the platform for you to review. All right, and so here's our key takeaways for today. Social media can be a website or application used for the creation and sharing of photos, information, ideas, videos, and other forms of expression. There are many different social media platforms. The list goes on and on. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and so on and so on. Forensic tools can be used to extract data from many social media platforms for the collection and analysis purposes. Different methods can be used to collect the data, like we discussed. The difference between public versus private account collections, and the multiple data export options that there are. Now, passing it back to Jeff.
Thanks, Nick. That was a great presentation. I'm going to briefly walk you through how Luxby helps law firms and enterprises address forensic collections and eDiscovery, and in particular social media. We'll talk about that as well. At Luxby, we provide comprehensive remote and on-site forensic collections that are fully defensible. We utilize industry-leading tools like Celebrite and Magnet, as Nick had mentioned. We handle a very wide range of device and account types, as you can see on this partial list. And now I'd like to ask our next polling question. Do you have a forensic collection project, and would you like a complimentary consult? All right, I'll go ahead and close that poll. With Luxby's eDiscovery platform hosted at Amazon Web Services, you get on-demand capabilities that scale to address the needs of your case. With Luxby's cloud infrastructure, you can get from document ingestion to review faster and get your productions out the door faster. All of your remote or mobile connected employees can access the Luxby eDiscovery platform via web browser. It works great on Macs, PCs, iPhones, Android devices. On this slide, I also want to point out that Luxby is a single end-to-end eDiscovery platform. Unlike many eDiscovery providers, you don't have to move your data from one solution to another. Luxby has fully integrated processing, review, analytics, case timelining, artificial intelligence algorithms, and production capabilities. Keeping your data in an end-to-end eDiscovery platform like Luxby helps eliminate the risk of errors from moving data between platforms, as well as eliminates the cost of promoting data from one platform to the next. And a lot of times, resellers will call moving data from one point solution to another promoting data, and they charge for that. I'll talk about that a little bit further as well. And you can do it all yourself, and you don't have to use expensive eDiscovery project managers. Luxby utilizes artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms for several uses, including transcription, translation in those events that those social media files that were forensically collected are in different languages. Also sentiment analysis, cognitive image recognition to be able to quickly categorize photos from social media accounts based on the content of those photos, entity identification, and more. And these algorithms are tuned to perform these tasks and enable firms to handle document-intensive matters with limited staff. One algorithm in particular that I find particularly useful is our near duplication groupings algorithm. And so if you have conversations that run across communication modalities, say like email to social media, then it'll pick up on those and group them into groups with that similar content so that you can quickly follow that conversation and be able to review those relevant documents as a group. Now I'm going to talk to you about eDiscovery pricing. The purpose of eDiscovery technology should be to improve your document review capabilities while driving efficiencies in both time and cost. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of eDiscovery providers that don't pass on cost savings that technology delivers. We host the Luxby eDiscovery platform in the Amazon Web Services cloud. Our processing, storage, and networking capabilities are not only highly advanced, but they're also incredibly cost-effective. And we pass the cost savings on to customers. Here's an example of how we compare to a Relativity reseller. In this comparison, you'll see that the Relativity reseller charges $30 per gig for data ingestion. Our highly efficient processing servers and serverless architecture enables us to offer this for free. While the concept of promotion might sound good, like I talked about before, this is usually a cost associated with moving data from one platform to another. The Luxby eDiscovery platform is an end-to-end platform, and it doesn't require you to move your data. Not only does this save you $125 per gig in this case, but it also helps eliminate data handling errors. We also don't charge user fees. I know Relativity recently just eliminated their user fees, but there's still other platforms that charge user fees. With Luxby, you can have as many users as you need at no additional cost. We also have 7 different user permission levels to help keep your data secure. We don't nickel and dime you either with OCR or electronic endorsement fees per page. We also have highly advanced analytics integrated into the platform at no additional cost. And we're able to deliver savings on the hosting costs too. So regardless of if your case is small or document intensive, I'm confident you'll find that Luxby delivers the industry's best return on investment. Here's some examples of how we help solve critical eDiscovery issues. Paige Tackett at Thompson Co. needed Luxby's speed to get some productions out the door to meet deadlines. Luxby is lightning fast and scales, so the number of servers or the number of resources applied to your matter automatically scale based upon the size and the workload. And so this gets you from document ingestion to productions faster. And David Jones was concerned that he would be outgunned by his AmLaw opposition. He quickly realized that Luxby was a great equalizer and helped him build his best case that delivered a winning verdict. And with that, I'll ask our last polling question. Would you like a demonstration of the Luxby eDiscovery platform? While you're answering that, I'd like to thank you for attending today's session. We'll be making the following available to webinar attendees: a recorded streaming version, an MP3 podcast, as well as a PDF. I'll also provide in the follow-up email a link to our data mapping resources so you can leverage those in your next custodian interviews. Please let us know if you have any questions or comments about this webinar or suggestions for future topics. This webinar is part of the Luxby eDiscovery webinar series. For notices of live and on-demand webinars as part of this series, please email us at webinars@luxby.com or follow us on LinkedIn. Also, we'd love your advice regarding our webinar series. Please complete the survey at the end of today's session. It helps us continuously improve this program and cover the digital forensic and eDiscovery topics that are most relevant. We did receive a lot of requests for this topic today, and so that's how we brought that to you. And with that, I'd like to thank Nick for presenting today. And thank you for attending. Watch your inbox for an invite to our next webinar on best practices in eDiscovery and digital forensics. Take care.